My name is Marilyn Unack. I'm the counselor in the admissions office. I oversee all things international within the office. And so I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to chat with you today, to share with you a little bit of information about Hobart and William Smith. The flow for today, I'll do introductions, and then after the introductions, we'll ask our current students that are on the call some questions so that you can get some insight into Hobart and William Smith from the student perspective. From there, I'll transition to one of my colleagues who's on the call, Sherry, who will talk a little bit more about international student support on campus. And then we can wrap it up with questions and next steps. But before we get going on questions and answers, I'd love to have my colleagues that are on the call introduce themselves. I'll start with Sherry, and then Kirsten, if you want to introduce yourselves.
Hi, my name is Sherry Martin-Barron. I'm the International Student Success Manager. So once you're on campus, I will be one of your advisors, and I'm your go-to person for any F1 questions. I use she, her pronouns.
Hi, everybody. Congratulations on your acceptance. I think that's something that you all should be very proud of. It's very exciting. My name is Kirsten. I'm a graduate assistant in the Office of Admissions. I primarily work with international applicants. So chances are, if you've been emailing our admissions inbox, you've probably heard back from me. I graduated from HWS in 2023 with degree in architecture, and I'm currently in a master's program here for higher ed leadership.
Wonderful. And so I do have a couple students on the call right now, a couple of current students. Sandeep, would you like to introduce yourself and maybe share your hometown, what year you are, major, minor, and other involvement that you have on campus?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. And congratulations again to everybody who got admitted. My name is Sandeep. I am from Sri Lanka. My pronouns are he, him. I am an economics and international relations double major. I don't have a minor yet. And a few things that I do, I am in the debate society. We do a lot of different tournaments. I work for the Office of Communications. I work for the Center for Community Engagement. I am a teaching fellow for the International Relations Department, which is a lot of fun. And I also work at ABP as a barista, which is one of my favorite things. Yeah, nice to meet you all.
Wow, Sandeep, you've gotten involved in a lot since you started here. And then Nicolina, do you want to introduce yourself?
Of course. Hi, everyone. My name is Nicolina Stanic. I'm from Belgrade, Serbia, which is far away from here. This is my first year here. I'm transfer student. I'm studying econ and math for now. And my involvement on campus are, I work for Boys and Girls Club, obviously, at admissions. And also I'm a part of so many clubs. I'm a part of investment club, finance club. I made my own two clubs, which are basketball and photography clubs. And also I'm a part of astronomy and math club. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. Maybe I'll pose this question to Sandeep. Why did you choose to come to Hobart and William Smith?
It was really funny, actually. A friend of mine who actually one of my best friends, we were looking at different universities while I was applying, and he kept on talking about this one debate society that is really good, but that I had no idea about. And then he was like, you should look at it. And then it was Hobart and William Smith. And then I researched into it, and then I found out about some of the professors here. And I kind of like, it started off with debate, and then it filtered into like having some amazing professors on campus. And yeah, and the campus is beautiful. So yeah, it started off with debate and then ended up me falling in love with the professors, honestly. So yeah.
It's fantastic. I want to introduce one more person who's on the call. Vaughn, do you want to introduce yourself quickly? I know that you just jumped in.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm so sorry that I have some problem with my some technical issues. So yeah, here I am. My name is Vaughn, and I am a senior, major in media and society, and double minors in theater and Asian studies. and I'm very happy to be here today to share with you guys about my experience as a senior at the AWS, and welcome to the new journey at a very amazing colleges.
Wonderful. I think, thank you, Vaughn. I think Sandeep did a really nice job of indicating, the faculty have really brought you in, and the campus is something that really impressed you when you got here. Nicolina, you just really started here. So can you talk a little bit about what your transition to campus was like?
Yes, of course. So obviously, like in the beginning, you probably think you're gonna be like, oh, like I'm gonna meet friends, especially like econ major, like we don't have group projects and everything. But it was completely different. Like, especially like I used to play basketball before, and this year I didn't. So I was like, oh, if I'm gonna like meet any friends or anything. In the first week, I met like more than 50% of like people here, and I just feel like you just have to put yourself out there. And it like transition for me, I didn't even feel like it. I thought I would be like homesick and everything, which I did not, because everyone was like super super welcoming. And then you just meet like people everywhere, like through classes, through some social activities, like clubs, anything you want to be interested in. And something that I always tell people that I see when they're like scared of if they're gonna meet friends or not, is that even people who are not really extrovert, like they just sit back in class and like don't really put themselves out there, like someone is gonna come up to you and talk to you, and like you are gonna make friends. Like I've never seen anyone walking alone or eating alone or anything. Like I know sometimes when I don't have time to like contact my friends and like, oh, I'm gonna go to Saga, like I meet 10 people that I didn't even know that they're there, or someone is gonna come up to me and like sit down with me. So I just feel like the campus is really welcoming and transition. Like I didn't even feel like it. And also like professors are super, super generous, and like they understand that we are not from here. So like that language barrier or anything, like I really didn't have any issues.
Wonderful. And Vaughn, do you want to talk maybe about the support that you received, whether it's academic or social, during your time here?
Yeah, sure. So I'm very glad that like when I first came here, it was during COVID. So it was very like isolated at first because we have to quarantine for like 10 days. But I met Marilyn and she took me around, and also I roommate with Jada, and we just like went out together to like get food and stuff like that, and it's went very well for like 10 days, and then after that the school year just started, and even like almost the class was on Zoom like at that time, but it was very fun, and like still love the community. And at the end of the year I still meet like Sherry as like a in-person meeting with all the classmates, and it was very fun. And I think we also like assign with like one like dean and advisor for your major. So I usually talk a lot with my advisor about my career plan and my future plan or academic plan, and he do a really good job. Like sometimes I just like plan it everything out and I just come to him and like say it, but then he also give me a lot of other aspect or insights about like what I can do more, or like what I should consider. So I really appreciate that. And also like they like, because it's very small campus, so you can like be very close with your advisor or your professors. And like in one class it's just about 10 to like 20 students, and it's just amazing because you just like very close to your advisor and professors, and they know your name. So that's why I think it's create like a very like close community for you to really grow and develop your like futures and career journey. And you get support from like literally everyone and everything, like from everything. Like you have a career service for you always there, and you just come to their office and like talk about your future or like career, any problem or worries. I am like an international student, so I come there a lot for like what should I do, or like like what is the plan, or can you help me with my resume or cover letter? Like they always be there and like help me like with just everything. So I really appreciate that, and I really like how like the small size of a campus it can be, and how they can help you like in everything, and they always be there to like support you, and I really feel that. So yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Vaughn. I had forgotten that you were roommates in your first year with Jada. That seems like forever ago. COVID is starting to feel like forever ago, which is a good thing. Sandeep, do you want to talk a little bit about what the classroom environment is like, or what the learning environment is like here?
Yeah, for sure. I think the first thing that's the most unique about a liberal arts is, and especially with HWS, is like one said, like the small number of students, which means that you are constantly interacting with your professor. You are speaking to them about the material and you're engaging, and they also design classwork and tailor make it to students, meaning that, for instance, if I have like three assignments, two of them are like I can make my own assignment out of it. So for instance, we have three essays due for my political economy class, but our professor allows us to also make different things like a podcast if we want to. So there's a lot of creativity that is allowed for students, and I think that's really important, especially when you go into careers. These are the kinds of things that they want students to do. And the second thing I think that's the most important is the fact that you're constantly working with your advisors and your professors about class selection as well. So you are never going to be on your own about how to finish a major, or if you want to do like a few fun creative classes like acting, that's also something that you can do um, within your major and like during your time here at HWS. Yeah, and I think the most important is that your professors are like always working with you, and it's super small and in the best way. Like it's for econ, I think the most number of students that have been in a class with for me has been 25, I think, or 28, and that's the most. And for international relations, it's less, which is a good thing for me. So yeah, I think that's what I would say about that.
Wonderful. Okay, I've got a quick question for all three of you. What's your favorite aspect of Hobart and William Smith? Nicolina, go.
I would definitely say maybe like the relationship that we have with everyone and like community in general. Like I've never seen a president and his wife who are super close with students. Every Friday they would like host dinners for every single student, and like they're gonna know your name in less than a week, and like what you do around the campus in a best way possible. Like if you mentioned to them that like I don't know, you like art, they're gonna talk to you about like next time they see you about that, or super welcoming. And I'm super grateful for that every time. Like for example, for new international students, that's how I met them the first time. It was like a first week, and we would have dinner with them, and like in less than a week, Mary Gearan, which is president's wife, already took my number and like started texting me every week if I need anything. And just like community in general, like how kids have relationships with each other here, and like just community. I really like that.
Wonderful. Vaughn, what about you? Favorite aspect?
I think I would say the study abroad program, because as an international student, I am already like studying abroad in the US, and that has been my dream. And after I come here, I realized that our school is like one of the top school that provide like study abroad or like exchange programs around the world. So I had a lot of chance to try on, like to apply and also to get a lot of like study abroad experience. So I went to South Korea and Bali, Indonesia just last year, and I love it. And it's just crazy that I have like double experience of studying abroad at the same time at a one college. And also upcoming the next semester, which is my last semester too, I'm going to the Netherlands. So that's like a very comprehensive and exclusive experience of like my academic journey. And I still can finish my major because I and my advisor keep track of that all the time, and my dean. So I can finish my major on time and also like do like three study abroad programs, which is very cool, and it's give me a very like large and broad cultural experience. And I think that's really means how like study abroad like means to be. Like you get to know a lot of other cultures. And while you in the US, you have a lot more chance because it's a huge and like country, and especially this school they very good at like study abroad and exchange programs, and almost like 90%, I'm not sure about the number, but like almost people I know that they going to like at least one study abroad programs. So it's really cool and I really love that.
Thank you, Yvonne. I'll jump in on that one. 6 in 10 of our students take advantage of a full semester long program, but we do have, as you mentioned, the program in Bali. It's a shorter trip program. It's only about 2 or 3 weeks for students that might not want to be gone for an entire semester or want to, dabble their toes a little bit in a study abroad experience before they commit to a full semester long program. So thank you for sharing that. It's not common for students to have that many experiences. So I think, Vaughn, you've really have taken advantage of abroad here. Okay, Sandeep, favorite aspect of Hobart Noin Smith?
Ooh. I think for me it would definitely be community. And in the sense that I think there's a diverse student body, even though it's a small campus, in terms of perspectives and cultures that really make it enriching. And I'm just going to plug it. The debate society is a great place, I think, to find really good community. And it's also like very like rigorous, and it's a really nice place to challenge yourself. So I think for me, it's just that about place. There are so many spaces where you can create community. And I have a large amount of international students from my year that are my good friends here as well. So it's just really nice that you can have that many people. So yeah, thanks to Sherry.
Wonderful. That's amazing. And I think, Nicolina, I'm going to pose this question to you and to Vaughn. You having been here for a year, Vaughn having been here for almost, 3.5 at this point in time. I want you to describe a little bit about the surrounding area, but also what you do during break time. So I'm combining a couple different types of questions, but describe the Finger Lakes region, Geneva, the upstate New York area, but then also what you've chosen to do over break time. So maybe Nicolina, if you want to start.
Yeah, of course. First of all, I just wanted to say that, like, even though if we don't have cars here, you can still get places, especially because like Geneva is not like a huge town, so everything is like pretty much walking distance. And we also have like this shuttle system where like every hour, every 30 minutes, shuttle comes and get you and like literally drives you through the campus or like downtown or the nearest like Wegmans or Walmart. So I never was like, oh, I wish I had a car here. And then even if you like do need a car, there's so many of your friends that you're gonna meet here and they're gonna drive you around, which I know from experience. So yeah, I would say I would start with maybe breaks. I've only gone to my home during summer breaks. I was lucky enough to make a lot of friends who would like invite me to their houses during breaks, but also like so many of my friends would stay here, or there's like housing opportunities to stay here during breaks, which is amazing. I would go with my friends. So first year I didn't go because of my basketball season, and then now I went to like New York City track. So like I did stay here over the winter break. For half of the winter break, I went to my friend's house, and then I went to the New York City track, finance track, and then I came to the college before, and like it does not seem like a ghost town. There are still gonna be people who are here, especially international students, and I really like it. It does not feel like ghost town or anything. Like you still have friends who are here and you meet a lot of friends. Like I met more than 20 people that I did not know during break, which is still amazing. And you have so much free time to like actually focus on yourself and like hobbies that you like. So during this winter break I learned how to DJ, so there we go. that was my experience.
I was going to say, we put your DJ skills to use for some of our admitted student days, don't we?
Yeah, there we go.
I want to just reinforce one of the things that you mentioned. Over winter break, the Career Services Office runs experience trips for students that are interested in the politics. They might go to Washington, D.C. and do the Day on the Hill experience. Nicolina, you went to New York City and did the Wall Street experience. Is that the trip that you did?
Yes, the
Yep,
finance.
the finance experience. There's also a film and television and media program that we alternate between Los Angeles and New York City. We also have run an advertising and another finance trip between Boston and New York. So there are those opportunities over break, like Nicolina mentioned, that you can get off campus and start building your resume as we start to think about what is next for you after, maybe even after graduation. So Vaughn, do you want to talk a little bit about, how you have explored the area, but then also what you do on break during break times?
Yeah, yeah, so I also went to the career track for communications too, just wanna add on that. And for just like an everyday life, I don't have a car either, but I don't feel like inconvenience or whatever because the school give a lot of like opportunities for students. Like every week they will have like some trip to like somewhere. Sometimes they go to a mall, sometimes they go to the falls or oh, and I really love the like the ORAP club group team. They have a lot of outdoor activities and almost every weekend, I guess. And I signed up for that for like a couple of times. We went ice climbing, we went to the waterfalls, we went for a hike. So there's like a lot of resource for you to like get around. And also if you just want to hang around like to downtown, I just like walk there because the scenery is like amazing. Like during like this time too, is the weather is like very nice and AWS nature is like one of the top. Like I feel it's just so cool that I really like the atmosphere and everything here. And I really like to walk too. That's why I usually just walk to downtown and get a coffee there or like work in a cafe there. So it's a very cool experience just on everyday life. And on the weekend, you like either have a trip with the school or you can hang out with your friends. And yeah, I think it's very nice. And during break, I trying to think like I have a lot of breaks here. But yeah, um, last semester I stay here. But during Thanksgiving, I was invited to Sherry's house for Thanksgiving, which is really nice. And yeah, that's the first time I like experience like what is really like, American Thanksgiving like feel like. And this semester I went to Boston to visit my friend, and yeah, I think like this place is pretty close, not pretty close, but you can like access to New York City and Boston and Washington DC, and there's a lot of place, and you can like just take a bus if it's like a long break. So yeah, I think it's very fun. Like I went to New York City for like 3 times, 4 times already. Yeah, even I just was here for like 2 years and a half.
Thanks,
Marilyn.
Sherry. Yeah, you did an amazing job transitioning to Sherry, Vaughn, so thank you. I want to transition from our Q&A with students into Sherry. Sherry, as she mentioned, is our International Student Success Manager. And I'd love for you to talk a little bit about the support that you provide to students on campus and maybe talk a little bit about maybe orientation.
Sure, yeah. So, first of all, I just want to say that I used to be a visiting instructor here at HWS, and Vun was in my class. And so it's really wonderful to see her, having grown from her very first semester on Zoom to now almost graduating. It's just really wonderful to see. So yes, I'm the International Student Success Manager. What that means is I run the Office of International Student Success. So once you enroll at Hobart William Smith, you'll be talking to me about getting your I-20. I will help you with your documents, I will answer your questions, and I will be the one who will eventually issue your I-20. Once you arrive on campus, I will be running International Student Orientation, which begins the evening of Thursday, August 15th for a like chill dinner, welcome dinner. at the Adams Intercultural Center. So this year it's going to be about a 2.5-day orientation. The highlight is always a trip to Watkins Glen, which is about a 45-minute drive. We take a bus and it's a beautiful gorge. And it's gorgeous. Sorry, pun. And every time I go, and I've been, I don't know, dozens of times, I'm still blown away by its beauty. And so it's a hike with a lot of stairs, but and you don't have to do it. You can just appreciate being on top of the glen. Or you can walk down and see the beauty of inside the glen. So that's one of the things that we do. I also have orientation mentors who are current students who support me during orientation and support you. So throughout the summer, you'll be in touch, once you're enrolled, you'd be in touch with my 2 orientation mentors, who are Alberto Garcia de la Puente Stanley, who's from Costa Rica, and Najma Ahmed, who's from Somaliland. Those are my mentors this year. And they will connect with you over the summer. There'll be a WhatsApp group, Zoom calls, you can ask them questions. And then once you arrive on campus for orientation, they'll have icebreakers, do fun things, social events in the evenings, while I do other, less exciting things, but still important things during during the day. So that's orientation. It's fun. It's important. It's a great way for you to bond with other international students. I know that Sandeep was in the first orientation that I did a few summers ago. Yeah, it was fun, right? Thank you for saying so.
It was a lot of fun, Jay.
Oh, good. Great. Then once classes start and you're here on campus, I am one of your advisors. So that means if you have any questions about anything from your F1 status and maintaining status to your academics, to other issues that you might have, to other questions you might have, I help you do your taxes, lots of things. I'm here to support the international students who are here on campus, and we have students here from over 40 countries. Right now we have approximately 110, 115 active students on campus who are international, but that's specifically F1, right? We have other students who are dual citizens or who are immigrants or on other visa categories. So I think it's a pretty diverse population here. Okay, let me know if you have more questions.
Great, and that's a perfect way to transition to opening it up to questions. We're here to answer any questions that you have about Hobart and William Smith, what might be next, what orientation looks like, how the food is. We could touch on anything, but feel free to either type a question in the chat, or you're more than welcome to just unmute yourself and ask a question. When does orientation start, Sherry? Can you talk a little bit about how it starts and maybe how many days it is?
Yes, so I would like students to arrive between August 14th and August 15th. The actual orientation begins with a welcome dinner the evening of Thursday, August 15th. And then on Friday, we'll spend all day together we'll start with breakfast, we'll have icebreakers, we'll meet with different offices around campus, campus safety, Title IX, career services, and DEI. And if you don't know what that is right now, that's okay. You will find out during orientation. That evening there'll be a Walmart run, so you can pick up anything that you left at home, like a pillow or a toothbrush. And then there'll be a social event in the evening I don't know what it's going to be. That's up to the orientation mentors. Could be something as simple as cookies and conversation. Could be a bonfire with s'mores. Whatever they end up doing will be fun, I'm sure. Then on Saturday, there'll be a required F1 visa workshop that I run, and then we'll go on a trip to Watkins Glen, and then we'll be back in time for dinner and another evening event. That Sunday, the 18th, is what's called move-in day. So all the domestic students will come on that Sunday. So you'll be here a few days before, which we feel is an advantage. You'll get to know the campus. You'll start to get over your jet lag, hopefully. Those of you coming from a place where you might have jet lag. And of course, you'll already be bonding with other new students. Then regular orientation starts the 18th. We help to transition you to that regular orientation, and that orientation is a week long. And it includes a really cool academic project called a Spark, where you can do anything from, go sailing on Seneca Lake, to painting a mural on campus, to, learning about the architecture of golf. And faculty and staff on campus run those. And then after that, you'll be put in an orientation group. And for the rest of the week, you'll be oriented and introduced to campus in other ways. I think that covers everything. But I'm happy to answer more questions.
Thank you, Sherry. Anything else?
I thank you first of all for offering this times for international people, because that's really super convenient for us. And I'm sorry for you getting up, I think, or going to bed so early, so late, or waking up early. So I'm Kristen's mom, and who's in that chat too. And I joined because I have some pretty specific questions, and maybe I can just address them here. I would have a question about, I think that you, Nicolina, are involved in college sports. Is anybody involved really in sport activities? Because that is one of the things Kristen would like to do. He's for tennis, and he's sitting in the library. That's why he's not able to talk for himself. So sorry for me. And then I have I would like to know, just because I'm not into that and I don't know the system so well, how do you do to group people for housing? I mean, is it like is it drawn, is it by, is there a system behind? Is it like, how do you pair people, or is housing organized? That would be my two questions. Thank you so much.
Wonderful, thank you. So I think we'll start with the question about athletics, and then eventually we'll get to the housing. And I feel like we've got a couple really good resources on this call to talk about athletics. Nicolina, do you want to start?
Yeah, of course. First of all, I know how it is. My mom always had so many questions, so I completely understand you.
Thank you for your understanding.
Of course. Yeah, so speaking of athletics, I used to play basketball in varsity team in my first college, and then when I transferred here, they had full team. Actually, Kirsten is on the team, so she can talk about like the actual varsity team. But also, like, even if you like used to play really competitively, you can still play so many club sports. So like I still have a love for basketball, and there's so many different clubs. Like I know for a fact they have like club volleyball, soccer, ice hockey, like all these different clubs. And even if there's no club, you can still start a club. So I actually started the basketball club, and we have now more than 20 people who are playing like every week, and we have like competition and everything. Next year we're gonna even try to get into the league. But if you're speaking of varsity team, like there is definitely a chance to play the varsity team as well. So next year I'm gonna hopefully try out for the team to join the varsity. But it's amazing. Kristen can talk about like how it is on the actual team, like when you're a part of the varsity team. But I was this year team manager on the varsity team, and it's great. Like I got to meet all the people on the team, and it was really amazing. I don't know if that answers your question or okay.
Yeah, and I can chime in too. Like Nicolina said, I was on the varsity women's basketball team. I mean, talk about community building. I think that athletics here at HWS are really important, regardless if you're on a varsity athletic team or if you're a part of the community. You know, we like to say on Saturdays in the fall, it's really exciting because the whole student body will, you know, start at women's volleyball and then go watch men's soccer play. And then at halftime, everyone will walk over to go watch field hockey and then football. Just because it's a small campus and all of our athletic facilities are really centrally located. So it's definitely a big pride point for us at HWS. And I think, yeah, if you want to talk about kind of like meeting people and building that sense of community, for Kristen, if you're anticipating being on the tennis team, you know, a typical schedule will be pretty intense. You'll have multiple lifts a week. Once you're in season, you know, you'll have kind of probably like a 2-hour practice every day. Not really sure what the specific tennis schedule is. But also you're competing at the Division III level, which I think is especially special because you don't have to pick one thing over the other. You know, we really emphasize the student part in the student athlete. And so you get a chance to compete on championship caliber teams while also pursuing really rigorous academics. You know, I think some of our some of our best students at HWS tend to be our athletes as well. So I think it really shows that you know, excellence anywhere is excellence everywhere.
Wonderful. And then from a housing standpoint, when students enroll, they gain access to an onboarding portal. And all of you are familiar with your checklist, your application checklist when you log in to your applicant portal. It transitions to an onboarding portal and the list gets much longer. And one of the things that students need to fill out would be preferences for first-year seminars. They would also have to fill out health forms. But one of the things that they do fill out is a housing questionnaire, and it asks really helpful questions, as our housing committee likes to know all different things about students to be able to pair them up as best that they can. So is the person a morning person or a night person, or do they like a messy room or a clean room? They ask other questions similar to that to really try to zero in on who might be the right person to be housed with another student. Sometimes athletes are housed together. It depends on teams. So sometimes the coaches will work with housing to get team members housed together because, as Kirsten mentioned, there's lift in the morning, and someone that likes to sleep in being housed with an athlete who has to get up at 5 a.m. for a 6 o'clock practice sometimes can be challenging. So sometimes the coaches will arrange students, but they also look at where is the student coming from, and sometimes, depending on how far away, we really try to keep international students with domestic students because we don't want the international community to be solely isolated. We want our international students to really connect with the domestic students on campus. So, but I would encourage students when they fill out that questionnaire about housing to be as honest as possible. You don't want to get into a situation where you say you like a messy room and then really you do like a clean room. And you didn't realize it until you got to campus and saw someone else who likes a messy room and they know themselves really well. So I will put that out there. We also encourage students to let us know if they want single gender housing or co-ed housing. That is something that is very important for us to know on the front end when we're housing students. So hopefully that answers your question a little bit.
Thank you
and
so
I do
much.
see that I do see that there is a hand raised. Would you like to ask your question? I'm sorry, I don't know your name. It comes through as iPad.
Sorry, my name is Elena. I'm from Medellin, Colombia. My question was, I don't really know like at what age do like guys graduate on the USA, but here in Colombia, I'm graduating when I'm like 17 years old. So that's this year. And I wanted to ask like how young do students tend like to get to Hobart and William Smith?
It's a really good question. And you will fit right in at your current age. In the United States, at least, students graduate from high school at either 17 or 18. There are some early college or early college programs that have some students that start even as early as 16. But the majority of our students come in around 17 or 18. There are some students that do take a gap year. It's not a lot, but there are some students that will take a gap year between graduating from high school and coming to college. And so they may start a little bit older. They may start at age 19 or even 20. So that is something when we're thinking about housing, we also pay attention to because a new student coming in who might be 21 is a very different first year student than somebody who is 17. So we also pay attention to that when housing students. But that's a good question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Also, I had another question. In my Common App application, I said like I was planning to take a gap year, but I applied for this year. So how would that work if I was going to take that gap year? Would I be able like to postpone my assistance to Hobart and William Smith, or how would it work?
Yeah, so what you're looking for is what's called a deferral. You're going to defer your enrollment for a year. And what we ask for students when they're looking to defer their enrollment is that they're going to be a better student for us in a year. And so what does that mean? What is the experience that you're going to have? And is that going to be a more interesting or exciting student for us when you get here? This may be an overgeneralization, but a student that is at home and not doing something that is constructive is not necessarily a better student for us. But a student that might be working for a year to save up money to come to college, you're gaining experiences through work to make yourself a better student. A student that might travel to another country and volunteer in another country for half of the year. That student has made a difference in themselves, have improved themselves, and so they are a better student. Does that answer that question?
Yeah, I mean, for example, in my case, I really enjoy like learning new languages. So I plan on taking my gap year to go to Germany and learn German, and then go, like, for example, the other 6 months go to Israel and finish learning Hebrew. So I don't know if that would contribute with the deferral.
I would say that that's definitely going to make you a better, more interesting person. Those experiences are going to help you develop. So absolutely. We ask students who are interested in deferring to fill out a questionnaire form, basically saying, I'm interested in deferring my enrollment for until the next year. That is something that you would want to do prior to May 1st, the enrollment deadline, just so that we have that information at the time that we are looking at the first year class for the year. Know that the merit scholarship that you received will carry with you the next year, right? You are indicating to us that I'm looking to come to Hobart and William Smith. I just need a year because I want to be better when I get there. And so that merit scholarship will come with you. You do need to enroll. You need to fully enroll at the institution in May of this year, or by May 1st of this year, in order to hold your spot next year.
Sorry, what do you mean by enroll?
So as part of the current applicant pool, you need to secure your spot with that $500 enrollment down payment. That $500 will go toward your tuition when you eventually get here. Great. Any other questions?
Yeah, so I have a quick question.
Sure.
I was just wondering, when should we start kind of going through the American visa process? And like, is that something that you guys help with or assist with?
Oh, really good question. Sherry, would you like to talk a little bit about the visa process?
Sure. Great question. It's Sheldon, is that correct?
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Great question, Sheldon. All right. So, so, once you've enrolled or, committed to coming here, there'll be several documents that you'll need to provide for us, including financial documents that show that you are able to cover the cost of attendance at HWS for a year. And that would include the aid that you receive. Okay, so we'll take that aid into account when we look at your finances. Your guardians will want to send us probably bank statements and other documents to show us that you are financially able to pay for a year. And there's an I-20 application form. There's about three or four documents that you'll need to fill out. Once you fill those out, Marilyn and I review them, and we'll probably go back and forth with you and your family, asking questions, getting more information. Once we have that information and we feel confident that we have everything that we need, then I will issue you an I-20. Once you, I will send that to you electronically. You can print it in color and sign in blue pen, and it will work. It will work. The original I'll give you once you arrive to campus. So once you have your I-20, you'll make your appointment with an embassy or consulate, a US embassy or consulate, to get your F1 visa that goes in your passport. And depending on where you are, which embassy or consulate will depend on how long this process will take. And there is a great website that could show you wait times for visa processing. I'm happy to share that website with anyone who wants it. Once you get your visa and your passport, you can come to the United States 30 days, no earlier than 30 days before your program start date. So your program start date would be August 15th, 2024, which is the first day of orientation. Marilyn, did I capture everything?
Yeah, I think you did. We are right now in the process of releasing credentials. So students who are enrolled are able to access their onboarding portal. All of those items that Sherry mentioned would be an itemized list in the onboarding portal. So know that that is something that you will see upon enrollment. We don't issue I-20s until a student does enroll. I see that there is a question in the chat, and then George, I will get to you. The question, Kristen, you had asked a little bit about maybe fast forwarding the time that it takes to get through your program. All of our students are required to take, well, most of our students, I should say, take four classes every semester. In order to graduate, you need 32 classes. To be maintaining your F1 status, you need a minimum of 3. But like I said, most of our students take 4. In some instances, students will take 5 classes in a semester. We also have students that might take a course over January. Instead of maybe taking advantage of those experience trips through career services, you might take a January, or what we call a J-term course. You might take a Maymester course in May, one course, or you might take classes over the summer. Those are all ways that you could fast forward the time that it takes for you to complete your degree requirements. You need 32 classes in order to graduate from Hobart and William Smith. So however you do that makeup, that's really, it's determined by you and your advisor and the path that you're taking. The thing I will mention though, your financial aid only goes toward the semester, the typical semester. So the fall semester starting in August and the semester starting in January. J-term, Maymester, summer courses, there's typically limited financial aid for those. But I think it is possible, if you would like to complete your degree faster, it is possible to do that if you are a strong student and you really have a plan as soon as you get here. George, would you like to ask your question?
I wanted to know if there are any internship programs available.
I'm sorry, could you repeat yourself?
I wanted to know if there are any internship programs.
Oh, internship programs, absolutely. Yvonne or Nicolina, do one of you want to talk a little bit about internship programs?
Yes, of course. So this is my first year here, and like I feel like once you step your foot into the college, you can work with career services. So for example, when I came here, they introduced themselves actually in the orientation week, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go there, introduce myself. After that, like they helped you so much with like resumes, LinkedIn, and everything. And because I was gonna do econ and math, like I'm doing that, I was gonna end up somewhere in finance. Our school has the best networking experience you can ever have, like so many good opportunities. Speaking of like even the track where I went, they help you find the internship. So, and we also have something that it's called guaranteed internship funding. So let's say you want to have an internship in New York City, and like housing there is so expensive, and if the internship is unpaid or underpaid, school still wants to make sure that you end up having that internship, and they really want everyone to have that experience. So even international internships, like even if they're not in states, you can have it, and school is gonna fund you. So for New York City, if it's, or anywhere, if it's underpaid or unpaid internship, they're gonna give you $3,000 that will help you with housing or food or anything like that. And also like they are gonna help you with every step to get that internship. So if you need people to talk to, if you're not sure exactly where you want to end up, like for example, for me, for finance, I knew I wanted to end up in finance, but I was like, oh, I'm not sure exactly which field. So they're going to help you with all of that, which I think it's super, super helpful. And also what they offer is international internships. So this summer I actually have international internship, and they're going to fund me up to like $20,000, which is amazing. They would cover all the costs possible. And because it's unpaid or underpaid, they would pay you like $15 per hour. So they would cover like everything, housing, food, flight tickets, visas, costs, like everything possible. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Wonderful. And Sheldon, you have a question?
Yeah, so I just wanted to re-ask something. So you're talking about how once you complete the like the CSS profile or those kind of forms, is that when you can start the process? Just because I worked through those forms, I think last February. So I just wasn't sure if that's something that I can get going with now.
Do you mean the I-20 process?
Yeah, so I'm going there for lacrosse, and I worked because when they were looking through money options, I like to get the visa. You said that you had to fill out like the financial aid forms and stuff like that, right?
Yes. Sheldon,
So,
why don't I look into
mhm.
you specifically offline, and I'll circle back with you.
Okay,
My
perfect.
guess is that you probably need to gain access to your onboarding portal, and that will list all of the things that we need in order to issue the I-20 so that you can get going on your visa. So between
Okay.
Sherry and I, we'll connect with you offline on that, on those things.
Okay, perfect. Thank you guys.
Of course, yeah. And I know that there was a question about H4 dependent visas and if all of this stuff is possible for students that might be on a different visa category. We do encourage any student who goes to school outside of the US, to attend international student orientation because it's a population of students that most likely you're going to maybe feel more aligned with because you've had similar experiences growing up outside the US. A student who's on an H4 visa already, they may also feel the want to connect with other international students. They're already in the country. They may be attending school in the US. But they may want to get to know some of the other international students. So we do, from an orientation standpoint, encourage anyone who has that connection internationally to attend international student orientation. But let's say the federal regulations are going to be very different if you're an F1 student versus an H4. But the move-in, if the student is participating in international student orientation, the move-in would be the same as what Sherry had mentioned. But it's really up to the student. There are federal regulations that are different for H4 versus F1s. We encourage any student who's on a different visa category to consider transitioning to an F1 because you never know what's going to happen to the first visa, right? The parent visa that would might change the student's ability to remain in the country. So if a student has the ability to transition to an F1, we encourage that, but that is a family decision. We could also chat offline. Sherry and I would be happy to talk further on those questions if someone would like to talk more about that. But know that we recognize that the international community is definitely far-reaching, both inside the US and out, and want to encourage anyone who wants to participate in international orientation to do so. And then I think we're running a little bit close to the end of time. I know Vaughn has a class that she needs to get to, and perhaps maybe Nicolina and Sandeep. So I do want to be true to time, but I do see that we have a couple other questions in the chat. Know that Christabel, I see your message. I will circle back with you offline along with Sheldon. Your question will connect with you offline. Sherry, if you don't mind, if you can put in the chat maybe your email address, and I will also put my contact, and Kirsten, you can put your contact in the chat so that everyone can see it. And then that's it. We appreciate you taking the time today. From a next step standpoint, know that if you have yet to enroll, right now our enrollment deadline is May 1st. We're looking to have a very diverse international class. You are among the few. We had over 1,500 international applications this year. Know that you should be celebrating your acceptance to Hobart and Williams-Smith. We're thrilled to have you on this call, and we'll look forward to chatting with you again, hopefully soon. So I hope you enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you all for your time.